Hi guys, and welcome back. We are now doing the long-awaited nose job video. No lie, I literally had to record this video 4 different times. This is my 4th time recording this, so hopefully it goes well. We're gonna first start off with taking you back as to why I wanted a rhinoplasty in the first place. So growing up, I was bullied. Kids would just make comments talking about, oh, why is your nose like that? Why is there a bump? Oh, it's big, you look like a witch. And not only kids, adults too, and especially my family. And so growing up, I was very insecure about how my nose looked. I'll pop up a picture of how it used to look. Yeah, growing up, I was just insecure about it. Obviously, now that I was grown, I feel like after I finished high school, like I was about like 19, 20, where I just kind of like realized, I was like, okay, well, this is my nose. I can't change it, so I might as well embrace it. All my insecurities went down, but I still had that thought in the back of my head of when I was like my younger self telling myself like, oh, when I grow up, I'm gonna get a nose job. And so I got big girl money now. And so that's exactly what I did. I went, I booked it, and I did it. I am super thankful for my family and my friends, especially, for really helping me get through this whole journey. They were very excited for me as well. They didn't shut down any of the ideas of I shouldn't do it, anything like that. My parents, on the other hand, are very like, no, you look good. You should love yourself the way you are. God made you like this, yada, yada, yada. Well, mommy, daddy, I wouldn't have these issues if it wasn't for you guys. Obviously, me paying for it, me taking care of everything, that's what led my parents to be okay with the idea of me actually getting a nose job. So after they got the whole aspect and they knew I was determined to get this done, they were just kind of like, oh, well, you know, we're here supporting you. And that's honestly made me even happier knowing that they were gonna support me through this whole journey. Last year in the summertime, I was going through like a rough patch and I was just very depressed. And so I was like, you know what, I need to start doing more things for myself. So I literally told my brother to hit up his girlfriend since she lives in Mexico, and I was like, send me a whole list of plastic surgeons that can help me do my nose. And that's exactly what she did. When she sent me that whole list, I messaged them all on WhatsApp. We booked up consultations, and once we did that, I booked my flight and I headed my ass to Mexico. I really liked this doctor that I went to. I had shown him pictures of exactly like what I wanted, and he kind of looked at me like, be fucking for real, because my nose was pretty big and what I wanted was a small little dainty nose, little button nose. And so he was just like, realistically, like, this is what your nose will look like. We can try our best, we can do that for you, but you know, we got to work with what you got. And I was just like, okay. All the pictures, all the previous work that he has done, I really liked them. All the noses that he did, they looked super natural, and that's kind of like what I wanted. I didn't want to kind of look like, boom, I had a nose job, because I've seen some girls that have like really thick, what do you call them, like nose bridges, and I don't know. There's just some people where you can actually tell like, oh, they got a nose job. And I was kind of more of like, okay, well, I just want to shave down my bump and bring my tip a little bit, because I did have a droopy tip. And that's exactly what he said he could do for me. And I was like, you know what, I'm on board. If you're on board, you can help me get this done, then I'm on board. After I left Mexico, I ended up just messaging that doctor and was like, hey, I want to get my nose done with you. And so we just ended up, we were going back and forth with a couple of dates from either April and March. And honestly, with my whole work schedule and everything going on in my life, I was like, you know what, it's just best to do it in March, give myself a little bit of time, just because by the time I did message him, it was already January. And I was like, shit, that's only like 2 months, 3 months away. So I was like, let me give myself a little bit of time just to take some time off, figure out how the whole recovery process is gonna be, all of that. And so we just ended up with booking at the end of March. Now, let's go back into talking about the actual day of surgery. My surgery was booked for 9 a.m. March 28th. I was supposed to be there 8:30 a.m., 8 a.m., no later than 8:30 a.m. We left the house at 6 a.m. to at least get there by 8:30. Traffic in Mexico when everybody's trying to go to work is literally insane. I feel like it's literally like LA traffic. My brother's girlfriend's house is only like a 25-minute drive, but with the traffic added to it, it ended up being like 2 hours, almost 3-hour drive, just sitting in traffic. It was crazy. So I ended up getting there like around 8:45, 8:50, almost 9 a.m. And so we were kind of backed up with all of that. And I still had to do paperwork. I still had to meet everybody and get everything situated before I actually went into surgery. So it was a little bit chaotic. Once I arrived at the clinic, I checked in. I filled out all my paperwork. Obviously, I had the girl help me out with a little bit of the paperwork just because I am a no sabo kid, and some things I thought I was fluent in Spanish and I thought I could read, but apparently some things I was just questioning. I was literally looking at the paper and I was just like, what do I put here? Once I finished the paperwork, they redirected me into a room. I met with the doctor. He was just going through everything that's about to happen. I met the anesthesiologist. That's a long word. So if you guys hear me fuck that up, then I'm sorry. I am also a no sabo kid. I'm also not fluent in English, apparently. But she was just going through a lot of questionnaires, like, you know, do you smoke? Do you drink? Are you pregnant? All of those, everything that she needs to know so she could do her job correctly. I honestly loved her. She made me feel very comfortable. She was like the mother figure that was supposed to be there. Another note is I went to Mexico alone. I literally flew there alone. I literally flew back home alone. My mom was supposed to come with me. My brother originally was supposed to come with me since it was his girlfriend. With work and everything, they just couldn't make it. I did ask my ex at the time to also come and fly with me, and that didn't work out as either. So I literally went to Mexico alone to get this surgery, which was kind of scary. After I was done talking to the sleep lady, I quickly got changed into my robe. One thing to know, I don't understand why they had me get fully nude. I had to remove all of my piercings. The only one I couldn't get out was this circle one right here. I don't know. I looked at the doctor once I got in the operating room and I was just like, I couldn't take this one out, so y'all can yank it out if you need to. And he was like, no, it's good. And I was like, so if it was good, I could have just kept everything. I thought that was kind of interesting that I had to be fully nude when they were working on my face, but it is what it is. Honestly, everything went by super quickly. Arriving there late, talking and doing my paperwork, meeting everybody. Like, I was already nervous as is. So one thing is I did not record the whole process of literally me arriving to the clinic, like showing you guys all of that, which I kind of regret not just being in that mindset, but my mindset was all over the place during that time. So filming was the last thing that was on my mind. Once I was undressed and ready to go, a nurse came in with a wheelchair. I sat in there. He wheeled me all the way up into the operating room. Once I got in, I met everybody. Everybody was telling me their names and what their role was as to why they were there, what they were helping with the surgery, which was pretty cool. Pretty nice and comforting to know. Once I met everybody, I literally got up from the wheelchair. I laid down on the operating table, and honestly, that's when my anxiety started to kick in. I was nervous as hell. And going back to, I wish one of my family members or someone that I cared or, you know, was there for me, because my anxiety was through the roof. I was literally shaking the whole time when I was on the bed. Once the nurse came in with a fat ass needle, like, it wasn't one of those little tiny ones, it was a fat ass needle. I saw it and I was just, that's when I started to shake even more. I was like, fuck. I was like, I hate needles. I'm like, I'm just gonna close my eyes through the whole process. To make it worse, It took about 5 different tries for them to even get the IV stuck in it. They did do 3 different times on my left hand, and then 2 different times one time on my right hand, and they just kept trying to poke it. They're trying to find a vein right here. They couldn't find anything. I pointed out that the day before I did get blood work drawn just for the whole surgery process, and they did it on my right arm. And the doctor was like, oh, well, let's give it a try. Eventually, after poking me several times and me bleeding on my hands, putting little band-aids on them, they were eventually able to put it in on this hand. And then once they got it in, everybody started cheering. I was literally on the table just laying down with my eyes closed, literally tears running down because of the pain of how painful this was. And oh Jesus. But not only did I start tearing up because of the pain, but also because my the anxiety and me wishing. I was just like, I'm in a room full of random people. I don't know who these people are. I'm alone. My brother's girlfriend is downstairs, but like I don't really know her like that. This was my second time meeting her. Honestly, this was my second time meeting her, because the first time that I met her was back in December when I came to Mexico for the consultations. What a ride. Eventually, once they got that working, everybody was cheering. They got to work, and I'm not even gonna try to say it. The sleep lady, she saw how bad I was shaking and how my eyes were tearing up, and so she was just kind of like patting my head, like telling me, oh, everything's gonna be okay. And honestly, God bless this lady, because that really calmed me down, because it was really bad. But I kind of stopped shaking. She was just like, okay. She grabbed the mask and put it over my face. I honestly don't even remember anything. She was trying to tell me to say something or count down. I don't remember. But honestly, in 0.3 seconds, once that mask was on me, I was knocked out. You guys know me, I'm a very petite girl, so literally with 1 drop of that sleep medicine, it knocked me out. There was nothing was gonna wake me up. I was in surgery for about 3 hours, because we started at 10 a.m. We started an hour late just because, me getting there late, which was pretty bad. Once they were done, they had wheeled me back into the room where I originally was when I changed and everything. It was about like an hour later after surgery was when I started to fully wake up. And once I woke up, I was like fully aware. My brother's girlfriend was there on the seat waiting when she saw my eyes open, and I was like, hey. She literally got up, ran out, and got the nurse. The nurse came in, she brought me little snacks, little Jello, tea, and some water, just so I could eat something, because previously I did not eat. They told me I couldn't eat at least 8 hours beforehand, and they told me it couldn't be a heavy meal either, which was terrible, just because the day before I had gotten my blood work done, and they had also told me I can't eat for 8 hours beforehand. And so your girl was starving. I swallowed that Jello and drank that freaking water just because I was highly dehydrated after. So after I woke up, I was there for like an extra hour. The doctor had came in as I was eating my Jello. He was showing me all the pictures of how my nose looked like during surgery. Literally opened up with like the cartilage and picture and videos of him like shaving down my nose. Yeah, that was very gruesome to see my face, literally seeing me knocked out and seeing people being invasive in my nose. That was pretty scary, but it was pretty cool to watch. I was like, damn, that was really me. Y'all were doing that to me? Damn. A nurse had came in, and his assistant had came in as well, and they were just checking up on me. They had removed the IVs off of me. They came in to remove, I had like a little strip taped to my face, and that was all bloodied up, so they came in and changed that up. They wiped my face, my nose, my mouth, everything, just to clean me up before I headed out. After the whole cleanup thing, just going over the whole aftercare process, which was a lot. My doctor gave me like a piece of paper with all the medication I needed. Just a whole lot of medication. A lot. I was like, damn. But I only had to take it for 7 days after surgery, which wasn't that bad. Now it's time to get into the part that y'all are mostly here for. I got it done in Guadalajara, Mexico. So my doctor was Dr. Toni. He mostly specializes in body, so tummy tucks, BBLs, breast, but they do offer face procedures like nose jobs, lip injections, chin fat removal. I don't even know, like those like fox eye look thingies. I don't know. They offer it all, but they also do have different doctors that work within their brand. I don't know what it would be, like company, I guess, that do those different procedures. Like they mostly tackle those. I will write it all down in the description. My whole surgery was about 61,500 pesos, which is rough estimate $3,500, which is not bad because I did come to some consultations here in Oregon and they were trying to charge me $10K for this. I said, no ma'am. At the time of surgery, I did pay an extra 2,000 pesos. That was just for like the aftercare process, all the other appointments that I had. I just paid it all together and that was just an extra 2,000 pesos, which was $115, rough estimate. My whole surgery was under $4,000. My flight, it was $500 round trip, which was pretty good. And my accommodations were free because I stayed with family. Honestly, if you have family in Mexico, I suggest you go and stay with them. I wanted to get a hotel, but since I was flying alone, there were some concerns, you know, human trafficking, all of that. I'm very self-aware of my surroundings and everything, and me being alone in a different country, I just don't know how that would work. So I just ended up staying with family, which was a whole case on its own because that was a whole lot of drama. But super thankful for the ones that did help me. What I had originally asked for was a small button nose. I really loved that the doctor was willing to hear me out and show me what my nose would look like. I fully 100% put my trust in them. I showed them pictures of what I wanted. They were like, okay, we can work with that. This is how, you know, originally when you ask for something, that's not what you're gonna get. They can try, but it's not gonna be 100% of what you want. And that just depends on what doctor you go to and what their work is like. Not only did I do this for cosmetic reasons, I also did it for my deviated septum. From my right nostril, I really couldn't breathe. The doctor was able to fix that, as well as get rid of my bump that I had right here. I just wanted a little swoop, my nose to go up, and just to be able to breathe better. I still do get a little bit of congested here and there. I just breathe out of my mouth, but that's also part of the healing process. So not only was it a cosmetic surgery, it was also a functional procedure just to make myself be able to breathe better. I'd say the pain was about a 3 out of 10. Me, if y'all know me, I'm a crybaby. Literally, I can handle pain, but sometimes if the pain is just up there, girl, I will cry. I will literally sit there and suffer and moan and groan. But honestly, the pain was a 3 out of 10. I could barely feel it. My nose throughout the whole thing was numb. It still is pretty numb since, you know, I'm still healing. The only discomfort that I had was when I had my cast on. Just imagine it covered up with a cast. It would just start to feel really itchy, and sometimes I would just like literally tap on the cast just to get rid of that, which I shouldn't have been doing because that just causes more bruising. Also, like under my nose right here, it would get a little itchiness, and it was just hard just because my stitches were fresh, especially right here in the incision part where they had it. This little part right here had stitches on there, and I couldn't really scratch that because, you know, everything was fresh, everything was still bleeding. So it was kind of uncomfortable. It would like fluctuate. Like sometimes I would have the itchiness, but then it would just go away. I am currently 2 months, almost 2 months post-op. I had my surgery date March 28th. Today is May 9th. So the end of May, I will be 2 months post-op. I still have about 6 months more to fully heal. But keep in mind, everybody's face, everybody's nose is different, everybody's body is different. So it can either be from 6 months or up to a full year. I just want you guys to keep in mind that literally when you go to your first appointment or your second appointment, first or second, whichever one that they remove the cast, your nose is not gonna look like that. Because when I went to my second appointment and they had removed my cast to change out my tapes and re-put my cast on, they gave me a mirror. They were like, how do you like it? I was literally looking at myself like, what the is this? I was just like, yeah, I like it. And then I told my aunt, I was like, do you like my nose? Just keep in mind, you are still swollen. So what your nose looks like then will not look like in a couple months. And honestly, that's also one thing I had to keep in mind. Just because when I did get home, I was changing out the tapes on my own. I was kind of like, oh, my nose is still big. It still is pretty swollen up here in the tip. It is kind of numb. So far, this whole part, it should be healing now. Like I can pull my skin. It's just this part, it's more of like tough and still hard. Pop in some before pics of what I looked like. I would try to look for as many pictures as I can find of what my before. This is my after. 2 months, almost 2 months post-op. So what I see now is not what I'm gonna look like for sure in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a full year from now. So far, I am loving the results. I am super happy how my nose turned out. I don't have any regrets. There's also this one thing. I might be getting a revision surgery done in about a year when I fully recover. Just because when, it's not that I don't love my nose, it's nothing like that. When I got home, I ended up getting 2 hemorrhages. I went to the ER. They stuck some packing in my left nostril, which that packing is kind of like a balloon that goes all the way back just to stop whatever blood vessel is bleeding, just to put some pressure on that. And that really messed me up. The packing was really puffed up. This whole side of my nose was like out. I had a string taped up to my face. And since my surgery is still fairly new, that whole packing put a lot of pressure into my right side of my nose, which they had fixed. And so I don't know if you guys can see, but this part is, you can see more of my inside than you can on here. I'm sorry if you guys see boogers. The packing essentially broke down my nasal wall again, and it has been a little bit harder to breathe on this one, but I do keep in mind that I am still pretty swollen from the inside as well. My insurance did refer me out to the plastic surgery department in my insurance department. I have been keeping in contact with them, making sure that I'm doing all good. No other bleeding has been happening, but that is just my only concern, is probably in about a year, if I don't get a full recovery, or like this doesn't go as the way it should for me to breathe better, then I will get a revision surgery. But it won't be cosmetic, it would just all be functional, because that was my main concern as well, was just being able to breathe better. With the whole situation that I ended up going through, it just kind of put me a step back. But other than that, I am super happy that I made this decision. I don't regret it at all. And yeah, I'm just so happy how the way I turned out, and I can't wait for what I will officially look like in a couple months from now, because it still is fairly new. If you guys want more in-depth of my recovery process, of what I looked like, what I went through, go and check out my nose job video, because I did record when I was over there in Mexico throughout my whole process. You can see my swollen face, what I had to do, the medication I was taking, all of that. Just check it out in my previous videos. I will also try to link it down below. I'm still new and not so tech savvy with YouTube, so I know I've been trying to add links, but I don't know, it's been asking me to do something and I'm just like, I don't got time for that. But if I can link it down below, I will link it down below. If not, you guys can go on my page. I only have like 3 videos right now. It'll be the first one, my first YouTube video on there. So you guys can go ahead and check that out. Other than that, thank you for watching. If you guys have any other questions about my nose or anything that I didn't touch up on and you guys still want to know, just comment it down below or head on over to my Instagram and send me a personal message. I will try to get back to you. Thank you.